Testing, testing, testing. Hey guys, just let me know if you can hear me or not. I'm just trying a new mic system here. I just want to know if I'm coming through all right or not. Testing, testing, testing. We're going to get started here in about 2 seconds. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. Looks like my feed has been frozen. What is happening here? 1 second, guys. Can you guys hear me? I think my feed has frozen. Testing. Let me know if you guys can hear me or not. I'm just having some audio issues here. I just want to make sure here before I get started that you guys can all hear me. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. I see my the audio meter on my mic is going, so I'm sure you guys can hear me. So hopefully you can also see this and that we're not frozen again here. Okay. Anyway, going to start analyzing the US dollar index quickly. And then we're going to move through and we're going to be hunting for a couple of setups for this evening. I've got one that I'm looking at in the pound dollar that I think should be a very, very nice range if we can capture a few pips for the potential Tuesday high of the week. Maybe even into Wednesday. We'll have to see how it goes. The US dollar has had a nice slide here. We finally broke out of this consolidation area and we are now heading down, here's the consolidation area, and we're now obviously out of that, and we are now starting to head down. So I had mentioned that if price had any willingness to break and close through the 88.70 level, here and around thereabouts, this blue line here, then we should see further continuation to the downside. Now we've got some areas pegged out here. Well, actually, I didn't peg them out. Basically, this old consolidation high rate over here would be the first target that I'd be looking at. That comes in at about 96.80. I could probably make it a little nice even number. And I believe if we see these candle lows here swept, it should easily reach that target here in a couple of weeks. So that's not a huge range from current level down to here. We're only about 170 pips. Doesn't necessarily take the US dollar to get down there that far. This range here, for instance, was about 500 pips, and that only took a matter of about 2 weeks to get down there. So we could see this here fairly shortly, and it is sorry, not FOMC. It is NFP news on Friday. So wait, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull the news up. It's actually a holiday weekend. It's Good Friday this Friday. So all the bulk of the activity of the week is going to be earlier on in the week, and a lot of people will be taking the rest of the week off. Nice 3-4 day weekend, and then next week is FOM's. Jesus, sorry, is non-farm numbers coming out. So don't want to get ahead of myself here. We're not quite there yet. But what I was driving at is basically if we do see a continuation down to here for the rest of the week, price may not get, for the most part, we could just clear these lows here and reject. And what we could see happen, just quickly, if price does want to push down through here today, so if price wants to get under this low here, which is the low that happened, I believe it was February 1st. I'll just get a reading on what day that was. That was March 16th. So if price wants to run down below those equal lows, there's at 88.14, basically. You could call it 88.15 if you wanted to, but I'll just use that for argument's sake. If price does want to push its way down, I'd be looking for a potential, just a quick stop run. They run through it a couple of pips and then reverse, and then I'd like to actually see them come back up and tag off of the bottom of this consolidation area. So more so right around here, right around the bottom of this box right in here. I wouldn't mind them seeing to come back up and rebalance price and then continue lower from there. So we'll see how that plays out going forward. But we are definitely finally broken out of this area here, and I think it's safe to say that we can see the dollar slide a little bit lower. Now, if it wants to go higher after it hits this level here, that we're going to have to wait for that to be seen. But for now, I think we're going to be bearish on the US dollar. I kind of wanted to see price run up and just take out this high here and rebalance itself out, either off of the lows in this previous consolidation or even these lows here. It didn't do that. We just got the one wick above. They grabbed all the liquidity above, and now they're ripping it back down. So, not the worst thing in the world. At least we've got some kind of directional bias now that we can work off of. Now, the US dollar, here's the thing of it. Looking at some of the fundamentals on it, I've been saying this for the past little while. The Fed has been, Federal Oversight Committee has been raising interest rates. They just raised last week by a quarter basis point. So the higher the interest rates, obviously the stronger the dollar should be. You can see it just keeps falling off. A little bit of consolidation in here. But I would imagine we're probably going to get about the same equal run to the downside as we had up here. So this downward trend, I don't believe, is done quite yet. Again, we'll reassess once it hits these levels in here. But for now, for the short term, at least this week and possibly into next week's non-farm numbers coming out, will definitely be bearish. And we'll be looking for mirroring trades in some of the other foreign currency pairs that we're looking at. So that brings me over to the Euro USD. We've got starting out on a daily, again, just pretty much a flip mirror image of that US dollar. This pair has actually been trading nicely in conjunction, in correlation with the US dollar. I'll flip back to a daily. So you can see the US dollar here been right trending in this consolidation range. The Euro USD was pretty much doing the exact same, but opposite, right? So we're looking here now. This line is no longer. I wanted to see price today take out these highs here, those two equal highs. It did, and now we're going to be looking for this high here to be run. Again, may not see that happen today. It could be into Wednesday, but I do think we'll get there pretty quickly. And it's only just under 100 pips away. They'll probably run that level by 10 pips or so. So it could even hit about 100 pips for the day. So that's what we're going to watch. But I want to see some kind of a pullback. So I've done a little bit of, this guy here. I've been looking at this on the hourly. This little consolidation range here, what they've been doing is they've just been accumulating long positions in here, and assuming they're going to continue to take it higher to take out these previous highs here, and this wasn't just a failure swing, which we are, we are above these highs here, and we did close, well, actually we pretty much closed right on the high of these, but it's convincing enough, I believe, that we're going to see a run to the upside. So the high on this comes in at 124.45, and the close of today came in at 124.43. So just a couple pips higher than the high, lower than the highs up here. So again, pretty convincing. It's going to break out in conjunction with the US dollar breaking out to the downside. This should continue to run higher. That'll be the target for the day, but I don't want to buy it right here. I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback, and that just comes in the way of them dropping price pretty much between now and the next hour or two. If you see them run down in price, I wouldn't necessarily think that they would want to take it any lower than this small consolidation range in here. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again, price tends to trade from consolidation to consolidation, and it's pretty much been doing that through this nice little stair step higher here. And you can see price traded down, created slow, traded back off, traded back down to the small consolidation area here, traded up, another consolidation area, traded up, another one, and again returning to the old highs, old highs, old highs. So it's just kind of been stair stepping its way up. You can see the lows here, right? Return back to the old highs. The lows here, return back to the old highs. And the only area they didn't really convincingly come back down is right here. But there was enough movement in price here where I believe they covered this range in area in price where I don't think they need to come back down to these levels again. So we'll wait and see. That would have to be a pretty healthy reversal. The US dollar would actually end up probably having to come up here and retest these old lows in here if we were to, before that happens. So if that happens on the US dollar, then I'd expect them to probably come back and retest these old highs in here. Maybe even this guy right here would probably be a little more logical, somewhere in this neck of the woods. I don't think they'll get down there. Like I say, I just kind of like to see just sort of a quick little drop, just clearing out the bottoms of these candles by, you know, that 25 pips might be a bit much, but I'd be looking anywhere from 10 to 20 pips, probably at the maximum of where they'll want to run price under here. Now, keep in mind, sometimes you think you're going to get that much of a pullback, and they just literally just pop it down by a pip. And we'll just take out this data divider here so you can kind of see a little bit better. They'll just, you know, for instance, they'll just maybe run this low right here by 1 pip or something, and then they'll just jam it higher. So keep that in mind. If you don't see any willingness for price to go any lower, then here, like I say, if they just keep wicking down, and price just, the bodies of the candles continue to keep closing above this line or around this line here, and they don't really are looking to make any lower progress, that's a pretty good sign that they're going to start to want to take it higher. And I'll give you an example of that. It happened pretty much on Monday's trade, and you can see here the consolidated price in here. They came down once and then didn't want to spend a whole lot of time and pushed away. Same type of thing here. This wasn't a big moving day on Friday. There were a few pips to be captured, but how they came down and came down and came down and wick, and they didn't really want to get any lower than this line in here. And then they came down one more time and pushed off of it. So that's kind of what we're looking for. A little more exaggerated today because, again, I am looking to see them push up to these highs up here. So that's where I'd like to put the target on for today. So what I will do for all of our members, I will be refining this a little bit. I'll put some more accurate levels, some price levels on there. And I'll be sending that out as a signal. Again, assuming we do get a continuation to the downside in the US dollar. So as long as the US dollar doesn't want to break these highs in here, we should again get a nice run up in the Euro USD. Euro GBP has taken the lows, and again, bit of a stop run. They didn't want to close down below here too convincingly, so this may be sort of the catalyst that lets them run the Euro USD up a bit. Typically what's going to happen, depending on which way this is going, between the Euro USD and the Pound USD, one of them is consolidating typically and the other is moving, and you can see that the Euro USD consolidating as price was dropping. So they didn't want to drop the euro, but while this is dropping, it's actually pushing the pound dollar up, and you can see that very clearly here. That whole consolidation range, it was doing a great job at pushing, this whole down range in the Euro GBP, while the Euro USD was consolidating, they were running price up in the pound dollar. So I would expect this now to either start to pop up, take the highs here, and I'll actually go into this here right now, or start to consolidate at this level. But I do believe now that this price has rejected on the Euro GBP. If this does move up a little bit higher, and it may not go too much higher, you see this small consolidation range in here. That could be a potential for a level of reversal. A lot of confluence at this level here, and I'll just pull this line. Whoops! I'll just pull this line through a few more candles so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Very active area in price. You can see right at this level here, price has really spent a lot of time working this level. You know, it spent 1 day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 separate occasions, and these aren't days, these are over months. This is almost going back to May of 2017 at the start of this consolidation range in here. But you can see how heavily they were working that price level right in here. So I wouldn't be surprised for them to come back and trade up to it here one more time. And depending if they have any momentum off of that, if they want to continue to stay in this consolidated range and manipulate the Euro USD and the pound dollar, then they'll probably move this higher. And again, it'll release the Euro USD to allow it to trade higher, and then it may consolidate the pound dollar a little bit more. But we'll wait and see. The pound dollar, what it could do, and what they love to do as well too, is they'll pop price out, and then they'll consolidate it again, allowing the other one to move. And I'll give you an example of that. For instance, this one, like this move here, they popped price out, cleared the previous highs, traded off slightly, and then consolidated it, and then finally moved price higher again, took out the old highs here, consolidated it, popped it up, consolidated, popped it up, consolidated, and now they're making another run for the highs, so they could pop it through here tomorrow, even into Wednesday. And this isn't a very far range. Price is trading currently at 142.33 on this feed right now, and for them to clear this high here, it's 143.45. So really, it's only 100 pips, and the pound dollar can do 100 pips, you know, in its sleep, so to speak. So I would expect them to run this high today. Now let's just run over real quickly here and check out the news. Not a whole lot going on for Tuesday's trading. There is some pound sterling news at 4:30 a.m. New York time. That's interesting. The Aussie has had is going to have a news announcement here. They're going to have a cash rate and RBA rate statement. So we could see some action on the Aussie USD. And I'm assuming if the US dollar is going to go down, they're going to continue to run this up. So we'll just have a look at this here in a minute. Just maybe remind me if you can to have a look at this here in a few minutes. I'd like to see if we do see bearish tones on the US dollar here and this price starts to run down. we should see higher prices on this, and we should easily see this level. Whoops. We should easily see this level here taken out. And that would be a nice little run. 77.40 to 77.84, 77.85. That's what we could see here. So I'm going to watch for that. They could start moving price here pretty quickly. Let me just make sure I'm on the right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking at the calendar here, and I'm looking at the wrong damn day. I was looking at next week's trading. So this is what you need to do. So just in case you weren't aware, what you need to do before you start your day is walk on over here to forexfactory.com, look at the calendar, click up here, look at the calendar, and just find out what's going on for the day. And I was looking at into next week, looking at all the non-farm numbers when everything was coming out for next week. Like I say, it is going to be a bit muted. As you can see here, bank holiday on Friday. So the bulk of the majority of the trading is going to be early this week. And I apologize, I was looking at the Aussie, so we'll put a pin in that one until next week here, in terms of the movement. But you can see that's next Tuesday. So for news for the euro dollar and the pound dollar, looks like Tuesday it's all euro, and one later in the day, U.S. Economic CB Consumer Confidence Report coming out at 10 a.m. New York time. So not a whole lot of market drivers, but that's okay. Like I was saying, I think the trade's going to be in the euro, and I really think they're going to push those highs. So that's what we'll be looking for here to transpire. Now that news doesn't happen until 3 a.m. and then 4 a.m. So with that move down in the euro may not happen until then. So we'll watch for that. But with that being said, we'll just real quickly run back to here. So that's what I'm looking for on the pound dollar. Is a run up to, first a run to take out this level here at 142.77. Not too far away. It's only about 40 pips away from that right now. And then the next level would be the highs up in there. Now again, we're going to have to wait and see. They could pop it up and then just kind of stall it again. Again, like I was saying, price running higher, the consolidating running higher, the consolidating running higher, and consolidating. They could run it higher than these highs here, consolidate, and then leave the Euro USD to run. And it's all just going to depend on if we get another continued run higher in the Euro GBP. That's what we should see. Boiling this down a little bit, I would like to see, they're doing the same sort of thing. They're just consolidating price. They're building up positions right now. And one of two things: if price runs down to 142.10 and doesn't show a real willingness to get lower, I don't want to see them take out this low here, and that low comes in at 141.89. I don't know why my price boxes aren't coming up today on this for some reason. It's kind of driving me crazy. Oh, there's one. There we go. So 141.89. I don't want to see price come down that far. I mean, I tolerate a wick down through, but I don't want to see the candles close lower than that. If they come down basically past this 142.10, then I'm going to be looking for them to come down to the old highs back in here of this previous consolidation level, and then we'll hopefully see a run higher from there. I don't want to see them go any lower than that though. And really, I'd like to see them basically stop right in around this level here. I'd even tolerate, like I say, 142 even, but I don't want to see them go any lower than this low here. And then what I'm anticipating is just a quick run down lower, and then a rip higher to grab these highs here would be our first target. And then again, the second target would be the 143.45, and more than likely they'd run that by a few pips, so 143.50 level. So that's what I'm anticipating. We'll have to wait and see, but just to kind of, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just spell it out for you a little bit easier, and that is pretty much it. Now keep in mind, so what they've done here is, I'll just go down to a 15. they've been doing a good job at consolidating price and essentially creating a bunch of equal lows down here. They could do what I was talking to you about on the euro as well, as they could just come down and take the stops under here by literally 1 pip. So you kind of got to watch, and you could even set a limit order, which is what I typically do. If I can't sit in front of the charts and watch, I'll just set a limit order. It'll put it under there at the specific levels, and then I'll typically have about a 30 or 40 pip stop, just depending on where the liquidity is resting and where the next stop area is and how much room there is underneath it. And then away we go. I set it, forget it, walk away, and go do my thing and come back and monitor the trade going forward from there. So that's what we're looking at. Now, if price, keep in mind, if price starts running from here and starts, whoops, we're a 4 hour. If price starts running straight up from here and does not want to come back under those lows, then I would anticipate them running up to 142.77 first. And then from there, we got to be careful. If they don't want to, and it could be one of those situations where they don't let you get on and they don't ever retrace price for you to get along. Just for the record, I don't like to take entries until I get a pullback. So if I'm going long, I don't like to buy on an up candle. I like to buy on a down candle. The same thing if I'm going short. I'd like to buy on an up candle and not a down candle. You get a better spread, and price moves in your favor a lot quicker. And you don't have to sit in a negative position and see any drawdown on your account that way. So that's the idea. But like I say, if they just start running, which they do, sometimes they don't give you an opportunity to get in, and they could run for this number right off the bat, and then from there, again, they could just head straight for this number here, or retrace it. I don't know. So you got to watch. You got to keep an eye on price and see what it's doing. I'd like to see them do this, pull it back for a little bit, and then run it higher. Essentially creating the lows of the days down in here somewhere, and then running up. So again, if you are a member, I will post this to our signals channel, and I will clarify all the specific levels for you. We'll watch it. I'll give you the timing, the setup, and everything else that you need, and away you go. So we'll watch and see that transpire. If you guys have any questions or anything too, I have my chat window up here. Feel free to shoot a message out, and I'll do my best to try and answer you. Okay. I see US CAD is finally dropping down. It's in a bit of a consolidation range here. A bit ugly. I don't really like to take anything here that I see that I like. Could have a lot more room to go down here. These old consolidation levels in here would be the first target. Not much here I want to discuss with the US CAD though. And then Aussie, as I was mentioning to you, news coming out next week. Again, if they had a few more news drivers, then I might be a little more inclined to look at something here, but I don't see any Aussie news happening until nothing. There's actually no medium or high impact news for the Australian dollar this week, which is interesting. Now, that doesn't mean that it may not see a little volatility. There is some US dollar news coming out, final GDP numbers coming out tomorrow at 8:30, so that could be a bit of a boost in liquidity and some volatility happening here, but nothing on the calendar really for this. So not a whole lot here I'm looking at. If you are an Aussie trader, again, with the decrease in the US dollar, I would highly expect that this pair will start to see a move to the upside here and potentially take these old highs here. So this is interesting. I'm just noticing here. So this price is really starting to drop here right out of the gate, and it's starting to push prices higher into here. So we may not get a move lower. Now, this is what I was talking about. The euro does have some news coming out, so that could be the market driver that pushes it down. But just keep in mind, they could just start running this rate from here straight up. So we got to be cognizant of that. Any dip from here, I'll be watching closely to see if they want to come down and run this level in here, go down, wick through it, and then pop higher. Or if they just basically want to test these lows in here even, before they start running higher. And I wouldn't want to see not that I wouldn't want to see, but that could be kind of the level on the downside that they come in on. As well too, you know, right in around here. So these old highs right here, they could just use that as the support level and not want to go any further down than that. So you got to keep that in mind, and that would come in at 124.47 to 124.45. So right, so just keep that in mind. Watch price, keep an eye on it, and hopefully we can choose a decent entry point. Bitcoin, it has finally traded off. I put a level up in here last week, and I basically said if price doesn't get any higher than this level in here, these wicks, price did not close higher than there, and it finally essentially traded off and traded a lot weaker. So we'll see what happens with Bitcoin, but not really nice price. It's just really been chopping down. It hasn't been kind of like this here, where it's sort of was slowly chopping higher. It's now slowly chopping down. Not real nice action like this in here yet. So we'll have to wait and see. I know there's a few Bitcoin and commodity traders with us. And really you can see here, price did a fairly good job at fending off these levels. So essentially a resistance level up in here. They tried to get higher in through here, failed, and then dropped price out again. I wouldn't mind seeing one more run higher. They won't do that a lot of times. They'll probably just slowly bring it up here and then drop it off again. And ultimately, I'd be looking for this low down here to be taken out and ran. And then once that gets ran, then we'll be going, I believe, in my opinion, back down to this small consolidation area right here. That would probably be a good target after these lows are breached. For a day trade, and then ultimately if this gets run and they want to go down through there, then we'll be looking at these old lows as a target from here on out. But price had a nice movement higher, really did not want to take any of the stops above these equal highs in here. It just, you know, once, twice traded off, 3 times, 4 times, still could not get above that level, and now we've been trading softer since. So ever since March 1st, where it failed to make that high, it's been trading softer. This was a nice range down in here, but this action in here for the past 2 weeks hasn't really been nice trading. Very, very choppy, and one small little drop right in here, but nothing to get excited about. I'd like to see price start to do this before I'd be getting into it and looking for any trades to go lower, like I say. So they didn't. Let me just put a level here. I just want to get this level. These trend lines can sometimes drive me crazy. 182.92. 182.92. Okay. Again, this is an area, so right in terms of support and resistance, this is a fairly heavily traded area. They really worked price at this level quite a bit in through here. They came, you know, down through it once, up rejected twice, 3 times, pushed through, ran back down the 5th time, and then chopped in here about a half a dozen times. Finally ran it higher, and they were using this now as a support level. Bounced off of it once, twice, pushed higher, failed at this level up here that I mentioned last week. They didn't want to get through it, and I said if price fails to get in through here, you can go short. And price fell off very nicely, and just sort of been stair-stepping its way down ever since. And now it finally hit the support area, traded off of it once, twice, traded through it once, back up again. So don't be surprised if price jams back up here one more time to retest this level. But I wouldn't expect price now to start climbing higher. If they did, it would be a rejection off of these lows down here. Because right now they haven't got anything. All the liquidity right now is sitting below here. They got it higher, and now they're coming back down lower to grab it. So if they do want to reject, I'll just pull up a 4-hour. If they do want to reject under here, so what I'm saying is if they want to just come down, poke through, wick through it, and not close the body of those candles below here, then we could see higher prices come out. For the short term, I think ultimately this is their ultimate goal down here, because they're really building up sentiment up here for a reason, and I think they want to take the price lower before they go up there, but we'll see. Like I say, before we get down there, we could see one more trade up to this level here, and that comes in at, just so you guys can get a figure, that comes in at 82.72, 82.75, 82.80, somewhere in around there. Doesn't have to be exact, but that's pretty close to what we're looking at for Bitcoin anyway. If this was a foreign currency, pound dollar or something, I'd get a little more accurate with it. But that's, for all intents and purposes, the level that they've been trading off of. For whatever, that's the algorithm likes that level, and it's just been trading and really working that level there. So like I say, don't be surprised if price comes up, trades off of it one more time. And if it does do that, I'd be looking for a short. I don't want to get short down here because price has already traded into it once and fell off about 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 hours ago. That would have been a good time. But like I say, I'm expecting lower prices, so we'll see where that goes from there. I'm not really going to discuss Ethereum because this now has actually outpaced Bitcoin. So this is essentially... This is pretty much what Bitcoin looks like on the daily. I'll pull up a daily chart so you can see pretty close to the same price action. You see that, the wick down here, wick down, failed to take the lows, ran back higher, and then fell off. All right, wick down, ran up, wick down, took the lows, ran back up, false break, and now we're coming back down again. They came back down again and smashed through this low here, and now smashed through there. So the next level that my eye is going to go to is under here. Under this consolidation, and then who knows, it could even get below this price in here. So we'll see how that goes, but it looks like they're doing a pretty good at smashing Ethereum here. So Bitcoin, I believe, will follow suit. It looks like it's lagging a little bit, but I think this one, so far, it's leading the way, and I think we'll go down below there here pretty soon. Basically, these lows right here, I think, are going to be the next targets at 386 or 385, somewhere in around there. So we'll watch for that. But I don't want to sell it right in here. Again, unfortunately, they've done a pretty good job working price. Same type of idea. Worked price in this area nicely. Finally fell off. Traded up. Didn't really trade up to any useful level. I would have liked to see him trade actually back up to these old lows in here. Before falling off. They failed to do that here. So like I say, if price trades back up here one more time, I'd be looking for a short at this level. I'd be looking for price not showing any willingness to go through this level, and then I'd be going short, and then this low here would be my target. But I wouldn't want to start selling here. I think, again, the move was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, 6, 7 hours ago, earlier on in the day. I wasn't watching this, admittedly, so I didn't see the move. But that's what I'd be looking for anyway. If we do get a slight retrace and then a drop lower, we could look at getting short there. So we'll see if that pans out. We'll have a live S&P trading session tomorrow morning, New York time, at 9 a.m. New York time. Dave will jump on and he will trade the S&P live with you guys. That gold and the USD yen, he'll be trading as well live. So if you guys trade any of those pairs, you can look forward to jumping on that one. Again, S&P Gold and UJ he'll be trading, so he'll be discussing that tomorrow. I wanted to discuss a quick one here, which is oil, which finally came up and rallied up through these stops here and is now falling off. So now my eye is going to right here to see if price has any willingness whatsoever to go down through these lows here. If it does, I want to get short. And here's the thing with this. There was some big news coming out in the world of oil. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the Chinese have now finally decided to bypass the US dollar-backed oil commodity and are now trading in their own currency. So it could be interesting. That's a pretty big piece of news, and so this could throw this whole U.S. dollar-backed oil price for a loop. So they came up and stalled. The news was today. So far, I haven't seen a big reaction on it. But crude oil inventory numbers are tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they take this high and then potentially reject and come lower. Ultimately, I'm bullish. I mean, going long, I'd love to see them start driving price back up in here. But now with this news coming out of China, wanting to trade in renminbi, then you know, it could bypass the U.S. dollar completely, and again, it could spell weaker prices for this commodities. So we'll see how that goes. But again, if price breaks this level here, I'll be looking for price to run lower. I think if they wanted to trade higher, they wouldn't have left price like this on the way down. And they did leave some equal highs up in here that I said earlier. I posted a chart earlier on the chat room. If you guys are all members of the chat room, you would have seen it. I said if price pokes its head above here, then I'd be interested in getting short. It did that about an hour and a half ago or so, and now it's trading softer. So I want to see, though, before I get short on this, I want to see what price does here. It could come down, bounce, and then continue to run higher. If it does that, all bets are off, and they could be looking to go higher and finally take out this old high from back in January 25th. So it's been a while since it's been up there. Just about hit it yesterday in Monday's trading, but it failed. So we are now below the weekly open. Here's the weekly open, pretty much right here, and price is just traded back to it. And so far they're looking like they're rejecting. So I want to see if that continues to reject. Then we could be coming way back down here, potentially, and even somewhere in and around these old highs back in here would be a good level of support. We could see price decline down to there. So I want to see what happens with crude oil. So again, I'm watching the Euro USD. I'm watching the pound dollar. A little bit of Bitcoin. Again, not too much. You know, price is kind of run down here, and I bet you they'll probably just continue to run this down from here. I'm not really interested in this too much, but definitely the euro, the pound, and crude oil is something I'm going to be watching, because I think these two could start moving here. And again, because of the holiday coming up, all the major traders and funds and everything, they're going to want to be getting their trades off earlier in the week, so as to capture that holiday. And then I believe it'll probably be quiet. After today's trading, it'll probably start to quiet down a little bit. Wednesday may see a little bit of action, but I would imagine Thursday, it's probably, you're going to see a lot of profit taking, and price is going to be relaxed quite a bit, maybe a little bit of consolidation. I say that now. I mean, it could be the exact opposite. Price could be running and screaming to get to new highs, and they do that when everyone's kind of relaxing, you know, planning on taking the long weekend and enjoying themselves, and that's when they really manipulate price. But we'll see how it goes. All you can do is sit, wait, watch, and anticipate, and watch your levels, and see the reaction that happens at those levels. So, again, guys, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free. I got the chat open here, so feel free to shoot a note my way, and I'd be more than happy to do my best to answer your questions. Copper. I was looking for a trade on copper today, and it was more came in right around here. We got some rejection, but didn't want to see any willingness to continue lower. And price reversed back up into here. So I was looking. You can see here how price finally traded out of this sort of descending, whatever the hell pattern you want to call that, ugly price trading right there. It finally broke down, and it literally just keyed right off the low right here. Grab this guy right here. So you can see, just created two equal lows. Very suspect, so they're probably going to want to trade higher. I want to see if they have any willingness. Do you see right in here, there's a little bit of level of support sort of right in this area at this $3.15 price range right here. Not even 15 cents, $3.01 essentially. I'm looking at that level. I want to see if price has any willingness to go higher through that level. We could be targeting highs up here, which I don't think they are going to. They'll probably want to start rolling it off. Seasonally, copper is coming into an area of bearishness, so I'm going to be watching for that to come through here as well too. I've got a lot of pairs on the old target range here, so we'll see what we want to. We'll see what happens here coming up into Tuesday's trading. should start to see price release. Price has actually been doing a pretty good job of moving higher here. They're doing it very, very quickly. So basically, one of two things. If they come up here, reject, I'd be looking for them to break this high and continue lower. But they could just do one of these where they just pull it back pretty much to these two old highs in here, and then want to run higher, and we may be taking out these highs in here. It does look like there is a level of equal highs. Typically equal highs are very suspect. If you see any equal highs or equal lows, that's where price loves to come back up to, and you can kind of see that in here, a couple equal highs in there, that they did not run those stops before dropping lower. So that could be a very, very interesting draw on price as well. Very, very heavy draw, so we'll have to watch and wait and see, but no trade right now on this. I want to see this continue. So that's pretty much about it. There wasn't really anything in here that I wanted to discuss too much. I was looking at a cotton trade. This has been declining, but it's starting to get ugly right now, so I don't really want to talk about that too much today until price breaks out. And then there was one here. We did see, I've been waiting for a reaction to happen at this level here, so you can kind of see it. I've got it on the chart here. Basically, these old highs back in here, I was waiting to see if price would reject from those levels, and price closed down into it, and it kind of faked me out on this candle. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't too sure what to do with this here. I was actually looking for price to see the next day, so Monday's trading, if it wanted to continue to close lower, but they just popped it down a little bit, consolidated, and zipped it higher, and I wasn't able to get in. It was kind of one of those you could have went in, went long. I've been talking about two levels, this level up in here, which price really did not want to go any higher from. They just kept wicking it, and that was kind of a bit of cause for concern, which is why I didn't issue a signal there. And then I wanted to see the next level was right here. They didn't spend a lot of time at it. They came down once and then repelled right off of it. So price could start to trade higher off of this for now. There is, again, going back to some tendencies and some typical price action for orange juice this time of year. It happens to turn very bullish in March. So we're going to have to wait and see what it wants to do here. But this could start to trade higher, but we'll be watching this price level here moving forward. So nothing as of yet on orange juice. And that's about all I wanted to discuss. Just that whole Chinese petrodollar decision that they came out with today prompted me to bring up a chart of the US dollar, Chinese, I think it's pronounced the renminbi. It is, or sorry, the Chinese yuan. I was thinking something else. I wanted to see what it was going to do, just sort of in relation to the US dollar, and it's actually trading very similarly. You can see this price decline here, consolidation, which is exactly what the US dollar just did. It just finished getting out of that consolidation. And then price finally was dropping lower on it. And you can see here, price took this rate out as well. Just took this low here as of today. So very interesting. Not necessarily looking at taking a trade on this. I've never traded this pair or anything like that. But just wanted to bring it up because that whole currency could be seeing a big boost in worldwide recognition here. So just maybe keep your eye on it. If the US dollar continues to slide, this thing here could start taking out some of these lows, and that, you know, that's about an 800 pip move if it does want to get back down to these old consolidated highs over here and take these guys out. So very interesting. I think at least, very least, this blue line here at 22.96 is going to get taken out. So just keep your eye on that. Again, I'm not suggesting that you trade that. I want to stick to the majors: Euro GBP, Euro USD, pound dollar, you know, US yen, US CAD, Aussie dollar, things of that nature. I want to stick to. So I just kind of brought this up just in contrast, just because of the news that came out. So keep your eye on it. And US dollar showing a little bit of pullback in here now. So we should be seeing equal pullback in the Euro USD and the pound dollar. Price unwilling right now to go any higher. We'll see what happens here. If the US dollar gets higher than this consolidation level in here, then I would be changing my opinion on the outcome of the Euro USD and the pound dollar for Tuesday's trading. So just keep that in mind. If this really starts pushing higher and it gets higher than here, then I would be expecting, back to the daily, I would then be expecting price to come back into here and potentially retest off of these old lows in here. I was hoping they would save that for later in the week and that they would run this low down here first before they did that, and potentially having maybe a reversal on Wednesday or profit taking on Thursday where they started to trade softer and essentially come back up. So just keep that in mind. If this price keeps running and it runs higher and it runs higher than basically this small consolidation area in here, then we'll be changing our tune very, very quickly. So really the old lows in here, I wouldn't want to see it go too much higher than there. I'd like to see it test it. You know, see this candle pop up here, test these old lows, and then start to reject and fall lower. That's what I want to see. And hopefully the Euro USD similarly will drop lower, take the liquidity under these lows here as I discussed, and then want to run higher. And I want this as a target for this week. I don't want to see price fail here. I'd like to see it push higher. And I think we're going to get it on the euro just because of this. Again, the euro GBP cross, they really smashed down the price here and consolidated the Euro USD and really ran price on the pound dollar, as I mentioned to you guys earlier. So again, I think we're going to see a run higher in euro, and there is euro news coming up in a couple of hours, so price may wait until then to do any real movements on the euro, so we'll have to wait and see there. And I'm not going to keep this session open for much longer. I'm going to shut it down here probably in about the next 10 minutes or so. I don't see you guys like you have any questions or anything right now, so like I say, I don't really have a whole lot else to talk about. We're just kind of sitting watching price and waiting for something, a move to ensue, and then once that does happen, then we can make our move. But until then, we're just sort of watching price consolidate. But I would imagine it should start moving here within the next about hour or so. And, you know, again, if you can't be in front of the charts, I'd highly recommend that you put in some limit orders in your demo account. I should say that, and make sure that you do understand that none of the stuff that we're doing here is live. This is all hypothetical trading. We're just practicing. You know, the views that I'm expressing here, you know, I'm not a licensed trader or anything like that. I've just been trading the markets for a very, very, very long time, as well as my fellow analysts who work with me here at F45 Trading. And throughout the years, we have come to really understand the patterns and the price action of these markets, and understand typically where it's going and where it's heading. So that's what we're basing all of our experience off of, and our knowledge, and all of our recommendations are for demo and practice only. And none of the discussions here are we suggesting that that constitutes to a live trade. So please keep that in mind. This is all at your own risk, of course. So I would highly recommend all in a demo account, please. And go down to a 15-minute chart here. Yeah, I really like how they've been stair-stepping price. You know, they created these lows, failure swing down here, failed it. I would actually like to see them come down just a little bit lower on this whole price dip in here. And to be honest with you, I was really looking for price to come down. See these old highs back in here, these old consolidation levels? I was really hoping that we would have seen price dip down there one more time. Oops, let's get this data divider off. They did run these lows here, and it was basically it was a stop run and push price, and then just really traded weaker and then they had two essentially railroad track candles, one rejection candle here, and went straight back up, pretty equal in bodies, low and high. That failed to get down here and run any lower, and that's really where I was wanting them to get down to, but still traded at a fairly logical area and traded up nicely. So I think we can capitalize on that and continue with the rest of the move. That should ensue here fairly shortly, so we'll watch for that to take place, assuming they want to do that. Again, if price runs lower than here, just keep an eye on it. I wouldn't expect them to go any lower than here. So, you know, again, I'll refine these levels a lot more with the signals through the membership site, but I really don't want to see them go too much lower than 124.25. That would kind of be the line in the sand for me. You know, I definitely watch it anyway. Like, I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to go long rate as soon as price pierces these lows here. If it does, I mean, price could fail right now. I mean, you look at it, price could just bounce off of these highs here and then go straight higher. We are seeing the US dollar, it did put a brief retrace candle in right here, and now we're going to have to wait and see this candle open to see where it wants to go. But if they do push this up, then we could see the euro start to push down and potentially go lower than here. But they could just start sinking it on the US dollar. And if that's the case, then this is probably about as low as they're going to go right in there. So now, if you are more risk adverse and you do want to try some demo trade practice, you could certainly take a very, very, you know, low risk trade, just so it doesn't mess with the equity in your demo account. You'd have to have a pretty big stop, though, in my opinion. You know, I would want to see a stop at least 30 pips lower than here. So you may have to have a stop that would be basically coming back down to these old highs here. So I would highly suggest, if you do, and like I say, they could just want to start ripping price right now. That's sometimes what they like to do, so you don't get a chance to get back into these trades. And it did trade up here nicely, but I want to see what this candle does, really. If we see a failure in here, it's going to happen pretty much right now. If it does not want to go higher before it wants to scoop up these lows, it should probably start to fall off now. I wouldn't necessarily want to see it try to run back and challenge these highs again. If it does go higher and start to challenge these, then more than likely it's not going to want to come back down, and it could just start trading higher from there. So like I say, you just got to watch that. But it is what it is. And sometimes, you know, the thing, I guess, with trading that that really drives me nuts, and it's a challenge. I mean, you can't always be You can't always be 100% right with every single trade, unfortunately. You can have the market direction down, and you can see price just run away from you, and it never hits your entry level, and that does happen sometimes. You either chase price starts to get away with you, or it doesn't come back to the level that you think it's going to retrace to, and it just starts trading higher. Like, for instance, this one. I would have expected price in here to at least trade back down to these old highs here. It didn't. It just continued to run higher rate from here. So it's kind of one of those things that sometimes you miss the entries, and it just is what it is. I've literally put limit orders on where prices come down, and because of the spread, it'll touch that level, but it doesn't want to go any lower, and then it just grabs all the longs and rips higher, and it doesn't enter you into the trade. I honestly would rather be stopped out than have that happen. Not that I'm suggesting I'd rather lose on a trade, but I just it's a little bit frustrating to have that happen when, you know, you've done all your analysis, price does exactly what you want it to do, but you set your limit order just a little, like, you know, a pip or two lower. Like, I'm not saying, you know, price comes down and misses your entry by, you know, 10 or 20 pips, then obviously you're way off, and, you know, you can't expect much there. But I'm more saying, like, if it literally comes down to your level, and just because of the spread it doesn't enter your trade, that's what drives me nuts. It really, really does. And then price rips off, you know, 100 or 200 pips in your intended direction, and you miss the trade, and it never gives you an opportunity to get back in. That's what drives me crazy. So Anyway, I'm just kind of yammering on here for a minute. I just, like I say, wanted to see what price was going to do and see it develop a little bit more into London Open, and see what it's going to give us. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, price, I don't think, just because of the economic calendar, I don't think we're going to see a whole ton of action this week. I don't see it being a super busy week. I'll just put the calendar over one more time. You know, we've got some Euro USD news here coming up shortly, followed at 10 o'clock by some consumer confidence news. Could see a little bit of volatility injection. Another FOMC member speaking, which probably won't do a whole lot. And then tomorrow, some high impact news for the US dollar, but really that's about it. You know, some pound sterling news on Thursday, but I don't really want to be trading this close into, and some CAD news. I don't really want to be trading this close into the holiday. Markets tend to not be as highly probable and predictable when it comes into the weekends, especially long weekends. A lot of profit taking and things like that. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'd say the bulk of the trading would be Tuesday and Wednesday, and then more than likely I'll be electing to sit on the sidelines for the rest of the week. So in terms of live sessions, like I say, we'll be doing one tomorrow, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. New York time, trading the S&P 500 gold and USD yen pairs. Dave will be on doing that, and then I will probably end up doing another live trading session. We usually have another an analyst doing Wednesday London Open, but he unfortunately can't make it this week, so I might take his session over, or I'll probably end up doing that. I don't think, I was going to suggest maybe I'll do a New York session tomorrow morning, a New York session here in about 7 hours from now, 7 or 8 hours from now, but I don't think I will. I think I'll probably just put up some limit orders and set the signals up, and we'll just monitor it. I don't think I'll do a live session. I think I'll save that for Wednesday, just because I have to cover that session for this time tomorrow morning. So we'll see how that goes. If that changes, I'll obviously jump on. I'll give you lots of notice and let you know. But just watch your feeds. However you came to come about this live trading session, whether it was through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or because you're a member, I'll give you notice. Again, I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes to jump on the charts there tomorrow morning if I decide to do a trading session and go from there. So yeah, kind of like watching paint dry right now. Not a whole lot of action happening. Should be a good market mover though today. There should be a lot of action happening, and so we'll see. Like I say, if price does not want to show any willingness to get lower than here, I might be inclined to get long on this pair. So we'll have to see, but I like how they didn't come back down and take any of the stops under here yet, so I think that's where they want to do, is just jam it down once and then rip it higher. But I've been wrong on the entries before, unfortunately. Sometimes they just start to run, and it looks like it's doing a pretty good job of it right now, judging on the US dollar. Does not look like this candle wants to run higher yet. So we'll see how this goes. Kind of ugly price trading in here, though. It's just really chopping sideways. So we'll see how that transpires here. Pretty efficient in this area. I wouldn't mind seeing them just trade right up to here, or even these lows in here, and then reject, and then that, I think, would be a definite push down in through here, and then we can grab up along. That would be my ideal entry. I'd really like to see that, and then that would give us a potential range of if price dropped just under these lows here, and we got a trade That would give us a potential, 115 to 120 pip range for Tuesday, which would be great if we could capture that on the euro. The pound dollar usually gives us a 100 pip plus range, like I say, easily. So we'll have to wait and see. But I just don't like the way where they're taking the euro GBP, pushing it higher like this. Typically when they start doing that, plus in correlation with the news on the euro, typically I just kind of believe that the euro USD could be the better trade. I could be wrong. It could be, the trade could be in the pound dollar, and they could just skyrocket the pound dollar, finally take out these old highs here, and then the euro would just be kind of the lagger and catching up. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see how that transpires. Again, this is in a little bit more conjunction and basically the mirror image of the US dollar, whereas the pound dollar is definitely doing its own thing here. And I think that's just because, again, the manipulation on the euro GBP. So it's kind of one of those things that you just got to watch for. These cross pairs are very, very important to monitor. Yes, US dollar is definitely, king ding-a-ling, and you got to make sure you know exactly where it's going, so you can catch the moves on the corresponding currency baskets. But this, in particular, with Euro USD and pound dollar, it is definitely one that you got to watch and monitor. So if they fail to run this higher, any lower than in here, and this was just a stop run, and they are indeed going to run it higher and above here, then again, like I was saying earlier, that would be the catalyst to run euro through these highs here, and potentially much higher into these old consolidation ranges in here as well. So like I say, just kind of keep that in mind. A good target also would be 126, 25 or higher. Ultimately, I'd like to see them grab the highs up in here and even get back up into these old areas up in here that I have marked off. So we'll see what happens. It's not going to go straight up there by any stretch of the imagination. Price is probably going to want to consolidate around in here and chop in here a little bit more before it gets there. But that's the ultimate target, especially if we see continued weakness in the US dollar. It'll be much easier for these pairs to trade up in there. If we see the US dollar index come down and reject these lows here, so if it comes down, whips through, takes them, and starts screaming higher, which again, there's a lot of news associated with the US dollar that's saying it should be going higher right now. Again, there's a little bit of price area down in here where they may want to grab, so that may be what they're going to want to do first before they run it higher. But like I say, there's a number of fundamental indicators that are saying that the US dollar should be going higher, and as you can see, it clearly isn't. It's going lower. So we'll see. And definitely the news that came out of China today, on Monday, regarding the petrodollar, that is definitely going to be a killer on the US dollar. Everyone's going to be dumping the US dollar worldwide to pick up the yen to start trading there, because China is going to be, I believe is the world's largest importer of oil right now, and so if they're not trading in US dollar anymore, that gives them a lot more freedom of movement to start picking up oil from other countries, bypassing the US completely. And really, there's no reason for anybody to hold the US dollar, so that could really drive the US dollar down. So that's the other thing. And there's always a 50-50 argument either way, especially when talking about fundamental news. You go out and you look up 10 articles about what the dollar is going to do, what crude oil is going to do, what the euro USD is going to do, and half of the news articles will be saying it's going up, and the other half will be saying it's going down, all based on fundamental indicators about this, that, and the other thing. And so really, the only thing that drives price, drives a market in direction up or down, is price, and what the technical indicators on the chart are telling you. So that's really all there is to it. News will definitely fluctuate price and inject volatility into it. It'll give you a move like this down here, or these wicks down in here. That's what news will do for you. But ultimately, the trend is your friend, and it will continue in the overall trend no matter what happens, until it's done, and until price, the algorithm has filled in that price and satisfied that price level. It will continue to trade in that direct range, no matter what happens. So you can see on the U.S. dollar, I mean, just a crazy decline ever since October of no, I'm sorry, it's not quite October. It hit the highs in October, and then it started to finally crest and start to decline basically January 1 of 2016. So 2 years now it's been a steady decline. So anyway, I could go on about that for a while. I'm just basically sitting here watching price right now, seeing what it wants to do. So far it's rejecting these levels here, so we could see lower prices, but again, I'm watching this level here. I'm watching the 124, pretty much just 124.47 level. I'm watching that, see if price wants to start continuing down through. I would love to see them sweep these lows here. That'd be an awesome setup. Yeah, but I do think we are going higher. Now, again, bear in mind, you got to keep in mind that there could be a drawback down to these old highs right here. Price really does like to trade from consolidation to consolidation, and so there's a big consolidation range right in here that they may want to take price down to and trade off of. So we just kind of got to keep that in mind when entering our stop. So if we get an entry a couple pips, so if this is 124.40, let's say, is the low, I would probably look at picking up along somewhere around 124.35 to 124.30, a 5 to 10 pip stop. But keep in mind that my if I got then in around there, I would want, let's say I got into 124.30, so a 10 pip stop run underneath those lows. I would want to have at least a 25 pip stop minimum on that, and that would pretty much be just a little bit lower than the consolidation level in here, the middle of that consolidation level. If price wants to push lower than that, then we're probably going to want to see lower prices. So we'll just kind of be watching for that. But I'd like to see, just really all I want to see is price do this. Just assuming this is the candle here. I'd like to see price trade down and just basically do this. Wick down once, not close below this level here, and then just basically wick down, reject, and then come straight back up and then start to trade higher. So I don't want to see a full body close down lower than these lows down here. I just want to see just wicks, really. And that's kind of the telltale sign that they're going to start manipulating price higher. That they're just coming down, quick stop run, and then a rip higher. So that's what I'm looking for. And I wish price would start doing it now, because I'm sort of running out of things here to discuss. Bitcoin dropped down, just didn't see that run the price higher like I wanted to see. Again, not really interested in selling it down here. It would have been, the trade was up in here, and I sent that out. Well, that was how many days ago now? It was last week. Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday's trading of last week. Actually, I think it was Tuesday. Last Tuesday's live session, I think, is when I put this up in here. Price was just coming up into here, and I said I don't want to see price go through this consolidation range in here, this price rate basically right here. I said it could wick through. I don't want to see it close any higher. And Wednesday I was really watching it, and then I put out that signal again. I didn't put out an official signal. I basically live session. I said I don't want to see price go any higher than there. It didn't go any higher. It respected that level and traded off nicely. So in my opinion, that was the trade there. Maybe even the slight retracement up in here. You could have got short on that one or even that one there. But really, price traded off nicely. And I'd want to see a nice push higher to get short again. I'm not really too interested in trading. If this 82.80 level gets hit one more time, then we could see the potential for a short there. But I'm not interested in it down there. Crude oil. So far that low is holding, so we're going to have to wait and see if price wants to run any higher from there. I kind of didn't want to see price. I wanted to see price basically do this, just run up through it, reject, and now start trading lower. But price did close higher in this consolidation range. I didn't on the hourly. As you can see in here, price wicked above it, closed down. The body did close a little bit higher than those candles. You know, so that is a bit of a telltale sign. So they may want to be running price up higher. I was really hoping we'd see a decline in crude oil. Just a real quick run back down, grab up a little liquidity under these levels here, or even back down here before they jam that higher. But I think we're going for those highs for sure. I think the crude oil is going to create new highs Tuesday. So I'll timestamp that at 1:20 on March 27th, 1:20 a.m. March 27th. I think the price of crude oil will be trading into Tuesday's close. It will be higher than 66.60. I believe we'll see price run those highs here. So we'll wait and see as that happens. But I was really hoping for a trade lower. I wanted to see price reject in here and then come lower and sweep out these lows here, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it. A lot of liquidity resting under these lows here as well too. They haven't come back once for liquidity except for right here. And everyone going long, basically what I'm saying is all the large funds going long. You know, you could have got long in here, and then basically you could have put your stop, got in long right there, put your stop under here, watch price trade higher, and basically every level put your stop up, which is what everyone's doing. All the fund levels, they've got their stop under each level in here as they've been running price, and they haven't come back to grab the stops once, save, you know, March 14th, March 13th, and they've just been running higher ever since. Haven't come back once. So had a nice little dip in here, got actually a nice trade off. Was it last week? Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Yeah, it was last week. I issued a signal on crude oil, got a nice trade off of this level in here. I got a nice rip higher on that one there, and price traded down one more time and traded back up. But like I say again, I was kind of hoping we'd see lower prices, but I don't think we're going to get that. I think price is probably just going to keep trading higher off of it. But we'll wait and see. Again, I could be surprised. They could want to still come back down and take it lower. And I was kind of hoping that this level here would get hit again, this 62.85 level, but we may not see that. So. Well, here we go. Pound dollar could be creeping lower. Sorry, Euro USD, I mean. This is starting to kind of make a bit of a failure swing in here. So again, I'm going to be watching this level. I'm not just going to go short on the euro just because the US dollar is hitting these levels. I got to see and confirm that price has a willingness to fail in here and not want to continue through that level. So price should correspondingly, it's not a word, correspond. Price should correspond by, again, failing to go much lower than these lows here. So I'll wait and watch there. So if you bear with me for about another 10 minutes, I'm going to watch price here, and then I'm going to close down this session. You guys can watch this live with me, but there's not a whole lot else to discuss. Like I say, I went through a couple commodities here. Nothing much to discuss, unfortunately, for these guys here. So see what the Dow's doing. That's interesting. The Dow had a real deep retracement. I'd be looking for lower prices on the Dow. Dave will go through this tomorrow, but I'd be looking. See these lows in here. See how prices come in here, created these lows. The bodies have failed to get down through there. Failed. Prices coming up here. I'd be looking for a short right here, to be honest with you. And the only reason being because they didn't take any liquidity down here yet. I think they're going to run these lows. And I just want to see if the S&P is doing the same thing. Very similar. You see these lows in here? Right? And it corresponds back in here. I'm just going to take this line here and borrow that. See these lows in here? And prices, the bodies failed to get lower than there. Coming back up. If price gets higher than that, then we'll go higher. But I think that could be anywhere in there. I might be looking to take a short, and Dave will go through that tomorrow again during tomorrow's trading. So But see these two relatively equal lows down here? I think that could be the... Now, we'll see, though. I mean, price did come down, just closed lower than the bodies here. I mean, just. And then completely rejected. So, we'll see what happens, but I'd be looking for some kind of a bounce at this level. So, we'll wait and see on that one. I'm not a huge S&P trader. I'm sure Dave will talk about that tomorrow, like I say, but you can watch for that. Very interesting. If price goes through this consolidation area here, then I wouldn't be interested in it. But if price fails to get higher than this consolidation level, I'd be looking for shorts on the S&P 500, and I'd be holding till under here for sure. So that's kind of my take on that. But like I say, Dave's the expert on the S&P, so he'll talk about that one tomorrow. Crude oil looks like it's punching up. I would have liked to see them come down and trade off of these highs here, not just leave it right there. That's kind of unfortunate that they did that, because I could have got on that one on a trade. Basically, you just sit and you watch price. If it starts to do this, then you can get onto it. But that would be where I'd want to see price reverse, not where it did. So unfortunately, could be a missed opportunity on crude for right now. I mean, you don't want to be buying on an up candle, obviously, but price could do one of these and give us another opportunity to enter, basically at the old highs over here, and then kind of do one of these. So that would be an entry position there if they want to continue up and take out these highs here. But like I say, I really wanted them to kind of fill this little area in right here and trade back off of the small consolidation level in here. That would have been really nice to see. So I'd kind of like to see price do this. And then start to reject and then run higher. So yeah, that's what it is. We'll watch, observe. That's all you can do. There's no rush trading. That's the biggest misconception out there, I think, that a lot of traders have. You know, FOMO, fear of missing out. I mean, when I first started trading, I had it. It's a very hard thing to overcome. Over trading is a huge problem with new traders. They feel they have to be taking part in every single movement and price action because they're going to miss out, and there's a ton of pips to capture. The good news about the foreign exchange currency trading markets are they trade 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So there's always a trade out there. But it really pays off if you wait for the quality setups, the ones that pan out 50 to 100 pips. Those are the ones that you want to take and wait for. And then you don't have to sit and kill yourself over the charts all week long. You know, I monitor charts, but I don't put out that many signals. I'll put out, you know, maybe 2 signals a week. Dave will do the same thing. And our other analysts will do the same thing with his pairs. You know, 1 to 2 trades. So combined, we're doing about 3 to 4 trades a week, solid quality setups. And like the last great trade was last week. We had a trade with gold, and we got, see this move right here? And it was last Thursday. How price came down into here. We watched failure, and we got long in here, and we subsequently had about 120 pip move to cap off Thursday's trading of last week. Those are the type of moves that you want. You know, you want to see that happening, and you don't want to be over trading and trying to trade these stupid areas in here, because you just get beat up and kicked around, and you lose money that way. So you know, you put in a nice trade that you get 120 pips, and then you start trying to scalp or do intraday trading or trading at the wrong times of the day, and all of a sudden now you give back 60 of those pips. So you know, was it worth it? You know, over trading like that? Probably not. And when I say over trading, it's the guys that sit there and take, you know, 20 or 30 trades a week. That's over trading. Okay, you want 3 trades maximum, 4 trades on a good week. You know, that's trading, and that's quality trading setups. That's being patient, waiting for the setup to occur, and then, you know, like we're seeing here with the euro, I'm expecting higher prices. We're waiting for the setup to occur. and then we're getting involved in it. And you know, there will probably only be this trade here today, potentially a trade in the pound dollar. Again, just some levels that I'm looking at here on the pound dollar I'd like to see hit. Trade's probably in the euro, just, you know, that's what my guess is going to be, but we'll have to watch both pairs to see. But you know, a trade today in the euro, maybe one tomorrow in the euro, in the pound dollar, for argument's sake, and then maybe one in, you know, the S&P or gold, you know, and that's it for the week. You know, especially with the long weekend coming up here, it's a short week. Last day of trading is Thursday. Several markets are closed, so you don't want to be over trading. Don't be going into the market in and out 10 times a day. I mean, that's just unless you're an ultra fine, ultra quick scalper, and you can do those trades and you're very nimble, you know, then all the power to you. But we find that we're much more profitable by taking advantage of moves like this, you know, moves like this, you know, moves like this. Those are the trades that you want to get into. And not every day is like that, right? A lot of days are like this, you know, just choppy, consolidating, you know, look at this, right? How'd you like to be trading in this environment for 3 days straight? You know, this is the pound dollar. That's the type of, sometimes that's what price does. You don't want to be trading in there. When price hits a specific level, like down here, for instance, you know, you want to see a drop lower to take the stops and then a run higher. It's exactly what they did. Overall bias to the upside. You got to wait for that. But you would have had to wait 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 trading days to get that. And a lot of people don't have that patience, and that's really what you need when trading. That's how you're profitable in this game, is you're patient, you don't overtrade, you take the quality setups and only the quality setups. So, you know, that's, again, that's how you trade. That's what you want to be doing. So, price is starting to show some weakness here finally. Sorry, I'm just, like I say, I'm a little bit of trading psychology for you. It's not always about just pure market action and the numbers. There is a lot of trading psychology, and I'd highly I'd advise you to take advantage of some of our education videos that we have on our website that discuss a lot of trading psychology and you know, how to trade and when to trade and what to trade and why to trade. And I think you'll find a lot of value in there. But if you're one of the people that, like, if you live in front of the charts all day long and you have the time and the patience, and that's your job, to sit there and look at the markets, all the power to you. You know, trade 10 times a day if you want to. But if you're somebody who, you know, you can't be in front of the charts, maybe you've got another job, you got a day job, and this is your hobby, or you're looking to transition into this once you get profitable, you know, in a few years, and potentially do this for the rest of your life. You know, that's how you trade. You know, you look for a couple of quality setups throughout the week, and you take advantage of it. And then you don't have to be a slave to the charts and sit in front of them and watch them and be in a chart hound, you know, all day long and burning yourself out. I mean, there's nothing that'll burn you out more than just staring at these charts 24/7. You got to give yourself some time in between to, you know, to relax. For instance, one of my analysts last week, during I did a live session. We didn't take any trades, but I was watching price for last week's FOMC news event that came out. And he didn't have anything to do. He wasn't trading the markets, so he literally took a break and played video games. You know, just got his mind completely off of trading. You know, that's what you got to do. You know, you take the day off and you just spend it with your family. You go do another hobby. You go for a bike ride. Do whatever you want. And you got to get away from these markets. And, you know, yes, there's the weekend, but I like to study on the weekend personally. I like to look for setups. Like to look at the past week, what happened, and where we're going to the next week. And I don't take all weekend to do it. I'll sit down for an hour or two and just look at some key markets. Where did we go? Where did we come from? Where are we possibly headed for next week? And then I put out an analysis video for everyone to watch, my thoughts on that on Sunday, and that's all I do on the weekends. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, we'll pick a couple of levels, key levels, but we don't overtrade. We don't offer 100 trades a day. Like I say, we'll do 4, maybe 5 quality setups. On a week like this week, we're probably only going to do 1 or 2 good quality setups on the week. And then we'll issue the trades, but there won't be a whole lot going on this week apart from that, other than the trade that we're looking today, and probably 1, maybe 2 tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. But all you need, like, keep this in mind, guys. all you need to do is 30 or 40 pips a week, and that will double your account in a year. Like, just keep that in mind. It's patience. You know, we're not trying to become millionaires in a night. It doesn't happen. That's how you blow your account up. You know, you take a trade, you make a ton of money, you over leverage your account, you think, wow, this is simple, I just made $10,000 today. And then the next 3 days you give back that $10,000 because you're over trading, and then another $5,000 of your own money. You know, so that's the stuff you want to avoid. Just steady, consistent profits. So let's say you only got, you know, let's say we put out, I don't know, 4 trades. And of those 4 trades, let's say 2 of them were profitable. The other 2 of them got stopped out for 30 pips each. Okay, so you're down 60 pips for the week. But the other 2 trades were profitable. Quality trades that netted, you know, let's say, I don't care, 50 pips each. You know, and that's very conservative. Let's say they each netted 50 pips, so you net 100 pips minus the 2 stop outs that you had earlier for 60 pips. So, which means you're net 40 pips profitable on the week. Again, you take that, and assuming that you're trading within, you know, relative leverage size, you're not over leveraging your account, you can double your account with normal leverage in a year. I mean, how many other traders can say that? How many people who have their money in the stock market with stockbrokers and everyone else are sitting there saying, hey, you know, I doubled my account this year? You typically don't get that. Or people with mutual funds or things like that, you're not hearing that. You're hearing, yeah, you know, I got a good fund and I made 8% this year, or 8% or 10% this year, you know, on a good fund. People would kill for that. And if I would come in here and I say, with steady trading, you know, just taking small gains every single week, minimizing your losses, you could double your account in a year. I guarantee you, all those people who have all their money in their, you know, mutual funds and the, you know, bonds with you know, very, very safe assets and things like that that are only making a couple of % a year, they'd kill for that, right? So just keep that in mind, guys. You don't need a whole lot in this game to be profitable, but you just have to be consistent, and you have to take it easy. Don't overtrade. That's really all there is to it. So again, I'm just kind of rambling here. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys too much. I'm just sort of looking at price, watching it. Again, I want to see price push down a little bit lower. And I'm going to do this. And kind of just watch price here on both time frames. I'll do an hourly chart here, and then Euro USD. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, right there. Okay, let's watch that. Make it a little easier. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. You know, I don't want to sound like a broken record or anything. I'm not here to babysit you. Your account is your own account, and you manage it the way you feel you should manage it. I'm just telling you what I've seen work in the past, and steady, consistent trading, taking, you know, realistic profit targets. We're not holding out for 1,000 pips every move. You know, we're doing day trades. Sometimes it'll be a 2-day trade for, you know, 100 pips. 50 to 100 pips, that's a reasonable pip haul. Like I say, last week we had that gold trade that netted 120 pips, right? That was one trade. So there's definitely lots of trades out there. You just got to find the high probability, quality setup ones and take those ones. And that's what we try and do. So again, like I say, I explain that a little bit more in detail in our trading education library on the website. So if you're a member, jump on there, take advantage of that, have a look, and you'll see what that's all about. I discuss that a little bit more detail. A little bit of trading psychology in there as well too for you. And if you're brand new to trading, there's also several videos on, you know, just simple how to trade, how to enter setups, how to put your you know, a limit order on, how to basically just work MT4 in general as a whole, just in case you didn't know what was happening. So and if you are a brand new trader, please always use a demo account. You should be running, if you're a brand new trader, you should be trading in a demo account for at least a couple of years until you really understand what you're doing. you know, when you're trading. I mean, yeah, you can take our signals, but if you don't know how to manage that trade, and if you don't know how to work the software, and if you don't know anything about the, you know, the spreads and the dealer spreads, etc., then you know, you're going to have a pretty tough time. So I would highly recommend you using a demo account when trading. And all the stuff that we're doing in here, again, it's always a demo, so there's not going to be any live trading that we ever do in here. So you do all that on your own accord. I don't want to know about it, don't want to hear about it. If you're profitable, congratulations. If you're not, that's on you. So that's why you know, we don't do any live trading around here. It's just all demo, hypothetical. So have to say that for liability reasons, obviously. I just want to see here. I'm going to open up another feed. Just a different demo account I'm looking at here. I just want to see how accurate price is, more so on the US dollar index. This is the one thing that I've mentioned before, and if you've been on my webinars before, you've heard this, but different dealers give you different price, obviously, and they're typically accurate within a pip or two, but in terms of data feed, I had a real big discrepancy on mine. So I'll show you this one here. This is just, again, this is just a demo account that I get data feeds from. But you see, I had a gap in price right here, and then I had another gap in price right down here. So this is just, who is this? This is XM.com. So xmtrading.com, basically it's just a UK broker. Usually highly reliable. I don't mind their data feeds. They've got very reliable prices. They've got good spreads. You know, no issues with them, except for just in the past I've had a couple of gaps in price, and those don't exist. So if I'll go back to my US dollar index, right, those gaps in price don't exist on here. But the problem I had on this feed, for instance, and this is just a broker that I use out of Australia. It's a demo account. It's called Vantage FX that I use, and they're a great trading platform as well too. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for you know, things to check out, definitely check out a few of them. Vantage is great. Depending on where you live, though, in the world, they don't always accept some people. You know, for instance, they don't accept people out of the U.S. For whatever reason. But like I say again, different data feeds. So very interesting. Like they took the high out here. You can see this price here took out the high, and there was some interesting price action around here. This was varying from this other data feed in here. You can see price was actually trading much higher than it was in here. This is actually trading much lower. So again, just difference in data feeds. You just kind of got to watch them and make sure you have a couple of different sources just to verify that the data that you are getting is actually reliable, and that's what the price actually is. So highly recommend you have a couple of different demo accounts just so you know what's going on. So and when in doubt, you can always go to something like barcharts.com or TradingView or one of those, and you can get data from there. All free sources as well too, so then that way you don't have to sign up with a broker or anything like that. You just kind of got to put up with their advertising, obviously, at Barcharts and everyone else, and you know, TradingView.com, things like that. So that's kind of what that is all about. So anyway, again, just watching price here. It's finally coming down now. It's traded through this 124.47 level, so I'm going to take that off. So we got confirmation. I think we're going to see the manipulation finally come down, and I want to see price reject in here again. So I don't do any trading. Again, I don't do any trading. I just use this account for analysis purposes only. This is the demo. That the XM account is the demo account where I actually practice my trading in. So that would be the one that I'd be taking a trade into. But again, we'll just watch price here for a minute. Guys, just give me 1 second. Actually, I'm just going to put you on mute for a second. I just want to run and grab a drink of water, if that's okay. My voice is kind of getting a little strained here, so just give me 30 seconds. Okay, sorry about that, guys. My voice was straining. I typically don't talk for, an hour and a half straight on end, so I find my voice gets a little bit stressed after a while, and that I need a sip of water, so I just ran out. So thank you for bearing with me. Appreciate that. Anyway. Just watching price here now. So far we're stalling a little bit. I'd like to see just one more pop to the downside and run those lows, and then hopefully we will see I'll run higher. Just gonna write a note here to my my group, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, like I say, just want to see price punch down one more time here, and then we'll see if we can't look at getting involved here. I might even just put a limit order on now, only because my demo, try it out, and I'm looking at a pending order. Like, I'd like to see price, to be honest with you, go down to 124.30. In my opinion, I think that kind of seems to be a nice sweep. What do these lows come in at here? 124.40. Yeah, so it would kind of bring it out around 10 pips. Might not even go that low. Like I say, it might just kind of, this might be the low. You never know. It might just jam down once, run higher. It may not even get down that low. So you kind of got to watch price a little bit and see if it wants to react at that level. But sometimes you just can't always be in the charts. So, you know, you got to just sort of set it and forget it, as the infomercial says. But I would suggest, if you are looking at a demo trade, I would suggest putting something in terms of an entry at about that 10 pip, 5 to 10 pips under anyway. And then I would suggest putting your stop in about 30 pips lower than that. Maybe just kind of right under this consolidation area. If price wants to go into the consolidation area and lower, then again, you don't want that trade. So pretty conservative stop, and you can hopefully take part in that. And I'd be looking again at highs of, let's see if I can just pull that time frame up again, just to remind you guys one more time. 25.50, 25.55 would be the high here. It'll probably run through. It may not, you know, that's why you put your target there, but I would expect price to at least sweep through by a few pips before it rejected back down. And that's a nice range. Again, that's a nice, healthy range. It may not get all the way up there today. It may only want to come in and just take the highs of these bodies as well, too. So, you know, keep that in mind. That price may only want to run up, you know, 80 pips or so, 125.10, right? That could be target 1, target 2, target 1, and then, you know, target 2. And here's another general rule in trading, just so you guys are aware. I'm sorry, I just want to switch time frames here again. Prices come up nicely into here. It should take those highs out, and I don't want to see price go any higher than there. So again, I want to be watching this chart here, just to make sure that we're not dipping too low into here. No, sure, I guess I can show you on this demo. 1 second here. And just swing this guy over and grab this guy here. I got a couple of monitors just in case you were wondering. Sorry, I completely forgot my train of thought. I was just going to say, as a general rule of thumb, you want to, I can't remember what I was going with that. Something about the stops and 30 pips. Well, we typically use about a 30 pip stop. That's kind of on average. That's a pretty conservative stop. I just don't want to see them go really any lower than that. I don't want to see it get stopped out, but you could even do a 20 pip stop if you really were confident. And again, I'm watching price over my other monitor as well too. See what we're going to do here. Hope it doesn't reject from here. I'd like to see it go lower. I just want to grab these stops here. I'm going to take off this day divider. Same type of idea. Like I said, so this is the demo that I teach with. It's pretty much the same data feed as the other one in terms of price action. The only difference was, like I say, that I saw in the US dollar index. So I just want to see a sweep of these lows and then a rejection. Who knows if we're going to get it though. They may come down once, fail to go lower, and then run higher. So that's always fun. kind of like how they did here. You see these, how they failed to go any lower. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher, 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 higher low, higher low, higher low, higher, 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 higher. Kind of a general theme. So we may not get the sweep down that we're looking for, but you know, again, pretty conservative entry in my opinion. And you could go anywhere, I'd say, from this low down to here as well too, just depending on how aggressive you want to take your entry. I'm just looking for a real quick pop down and then a rejection higher. So anyway, that's about it, guys. There's really not a whole lot else to talk about here. Price, I was hoping would punch down on that run there, and then we could have got an entry, and then I could have closed this off here, but I don't think it wants to do that quite yet on this candle. It may want to leave it for a few more candles, but it is now 2 in the morning, almost 5 minutes to 2 in the morning New York time. Getting pretty late, especially if you are on the East Coast. I'm not. I'm actually out closer to the West Coast, so I'm actually 2 hours behind New York time personally. So it's just about creeping up onto midnight my local time here. So I'm pretty much going to call it. I'm going to monitor this. I'll let you guys do your thing. If you remember, I have put out the trade signal in the members area, and we'll just kind of watch and see what it does from there. I'll kind of keep an eye on this. Yeah, pound dollar really consolidating here. I honestly think the trade is in the Euro USD, in my personal opinion, but I've been wrong before. So again, if you are trading this, make sure it's in a demo account only. This is just for study purposes only, not a live trade. So okay, that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks very much for joining us. And again, we'll do another live session tomorrow morning. That's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. New York time. Dave will be on trading the S&P market. And then again, I might just jump on to do a London session as well, same time tomorrow for the London session. But if I do, I will give you lots of notice, update you on that one, and we'll make sure that you get in on that one. So thanks for joining, and hope you have a great Tuesday. Enjoy the markets. Talk to you then.